Welcome to This Week from the Principal's Desk. We will be talking about issues facing principals, tips to help make your day a little better, and a little bit of our perspective. My name is Rob Lunak. I'm the principal at Mount Calvary Lutheran School in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And my co-host is Mike Sheeman.
Hi everyone, my name is Mike Sheeman. I'm principal at Bethany Lutheran School in Parma, Ohio, just a suburb here of Cleveland. So it's exciting to talk a little bit about setting the tone and how do you start off your year strong. Rob, what are some things that you've done in your school to find some success in that?
Yeah, so those first couple days are really important, and we spend really a lot of our summer, I think, stressing over them. I know at least I do. Trying to figure out, is the schedule all organized? Are the teachers prepared? Does everyone know where they're going and what they're doing? So a lot of that is kind of workshopping that first day and running through it with everybody and saying, okay, this is our first day, so, whatever day in that future, whether you do that the night before or the week before, and say, what does that look like? Where are we all going to be? What is that going to look like? Get a schedule for everybody. We usually start with chapel here for our first day, so that's how we start everything off. And then we use the end of our chapel time as a little bit of a reminder for some of those things so everybody's on that same track.
Great. Yeah, I think that's a great plan. And it's interesting, too, because you've got, I'm sure, all different types of teachers on your staff, from those that are uber prepared, if not over prepared, to those that feel that they're prepared but are going to maybe miss some of those details. And I found that one of the most successful things for me is being very present on the first day of school, even within the first week of school, so that if a teacher realizes, oh, whoops, I need something, or this isn't working, we can troubleshoot and be present right there. It sets the tone of, we are here to support you as you love on the kids that God has brought into our school.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Spending a lot of time in classrooms, in the hallways, just being around, because we can plan all we want, but the school day can be unpredictable at times. And just being around for those things and letting everybody know we're going to get through it. No, we might not have planned for this, but that's okay. We're going to work through this together. And in schools, a lot of the time, we just got to roll with it.
We do. I find, too, that as the principal, I remember when I was growing up and going to school, it was always a shock when the principal would walk in my room. Are you thinking, who did something wrong, or what's going on? But if we can set the tone as the visible principal within the first week, I find even moving forward when I'm doing a teacher observation or I need to go into the classroom, the kids aren't shocked, and it also doesn't disrupt the flow of learning, because it used to be I wasn't in the classrooms as much as I am now, and you'd walk in and all of a sudden all eyes are on you with the "Hi, Mr. Sheeman," and all the kids being excited and totally distracting. But now it's kind of cultural that they just know, oh yeah, he's walking in the room, I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I'll tell my teachers I'm going to be in your rooms often, and I generally don't need anything. I'm just there. I'm just being around, right? And so if you want to say hi to me, great. If you want to ignore me and pretend I'm just a fly on the wall, that works too. I'm just trying to be present and be a good observer, because I think it helps the kids be on their best behavior. It helps the teacher know that you're not far off, right? You're close if they need you. And then just getting familiarity with everybody. So everybody knows, okay, my principal knows how my day runs because they see me frequently. When you come in for that observation, if that's the first time in that teacher's room, how useful is that observation going to be for that teacher? Because they're going to go, well, you don't see what I do all the time. You've seen 40 minutes of my whole year. So being present often is really a great idea.
Absolutely. And I found, too, I've let my teachers know, when I'm walking through your rooms, I'm probably going to be on my phone. And what I usually do is I look in the room and I look for something that I see that's exciting or something that they're doing well. And by the time I leave, they've got an email in their inbox, because I don't want teachers to have that feel of, why was he here or what did he see? And if they can get that immediate feedback, I find that to be a really positive experience. And it might be, hey, I noticed you have a light out, and I'm going to talk to the facility manager about that. Or it might be, I like the artwork that you have on your wall. Depending on the teacher, it may also be a reflective question. I saw that you were doing this. What goals were you trying to achieve with that, and do you feel that your activities achieve those goals? So if you do that early on and you do that often, it becomes part of the culture, and the teachers, I pray that it helps them feel supported.
That's a great idea, Mike. That's one I'm probably actually going to take from you. I'm probably going to steal that one. I love that. So in that first week, I know here we are in the middle of kind of week 2, week 1.5, I guess technically. And there are definitely some things that, teachers have questions, and I go, you know what? I didn't think about that. Things like, what do we do if there's no hot lunch that day? Something I hadn't even planned about. So we just had that. We had a funeral yesterday, and we couldn't have hot lunch. So what was the procedure for that, and how do we work through that? And that's something we didn't go over in our teacher meetings, because did we have a plan? Sure. Did we need to go over it? I didn't think it would happen, right? Have you run into anything like that in your first week?
There's always a lot of unexpected things. Typically for me, it ends up being our schedule. There's something we missed there, or there's going to be those kinds of things. I feel like one of the key factors of school culture is, how do you respond to those things, and how do your teachers respond to them? Does it turn into a panic moment where now we're frustrated, or is it just a matter of, hey, we're all in this together, let's help each other out? And that's something very much built into the culture of a school, and the principal's role of setting that culture. It's important that as principals we don't panic and create that kind of sense of frazzle, but that we display that calm and we display that confidence, even if we might not have a clue what we're doing.
Fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah.
Now, so building that sense of calm and that idea that we might not know what's coming, but we're ready for it because we're together, how do you go about building that in your team?
Well, we talk a lot, first off, about why we're here, our purpose, knowing that God has all things in His hands, and that nothing is impossible for God. Philippians 4:13, we are His instruments to do what He's called us to do. We certainly don't do it perfectly. I'll tell you, we had it's week 1.5, Rob, and I've already had a police situation at the school where we had something odd going on, and we had to get the police here. So there's that moment of efficiency where we need to just focus and get our heads down, but at the same time, that continual thing of I always tell the teachers, I don't have all the answers, but I have a friend who does. Ask him.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
What do you do for that?
I try really hard to get everybody to know each other kind of outside just the work environment. So we do some icebreakers, we spend time in meals. Fellowship through food is kind of the best way to build it, in my opinion, because everyone lets their guard down when you're eating, right? And you get conversation going, and you might not have spoken to the person in the room next to you about anything that wasn't school related in a long time, and to see them as people and not just your coworkers, I think gives us an opportunity for perspective and gives us an opportunity for grace, because it's really easy to say, oh, well, the person next to me isn't doing things as good as me, but it's a lot harder to do that if you know that person and you know what's going on in their life, and you know, they had a rough week this week with this personal issue, so I understand why things might not be going as well as I would want them to go in that room, right? And just that, getting to know them on that deeper level helps so much, because we start giving the grace that we always want to get, but it's hard for us to do that all the time if we don't have that perspective first.
Absolutely, yeah. We've been talking here, our phrase is our default is grace, but we also know that it's important for us to be in worship together as well, because I know for sure, chief of sinners right here, and so to be together for corporate confession and absolution, realizing, hey, we're all in this together, we're all sinners, but we're all forgiven children of God, is something that really, really unites us. And I think a lot of the culture, a lot of the team building, a lot of the stuff that we do within the first week of school truly is a focus on unity, if you get down to the very core of it. Because we know in Hebrews 12, let us fix our eyes on Jesus. And when we're all looking at that cross together, some of the other stuff ends up not mattering as much as maybe it would in a different setting. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And that's one of the great opportunities we have in Lutheran schools, is we can have that greater perspective, right? And that's something that makes us special, and that's something we can't lose sight of. That's awesome.
Absolutely. So culture is really important. The tone, how we handle that within our first little while of school is critical, but something to consider as we get out of these first few weeks is the consistency throughout the year, because we're going to be on a roller coaster of a school year. It always is. So how do we continue to model that? It's something that we might need to look at a few times throughout the year within ourselves and remind ourselves that of the role that God has called us to be equippers and encouragers, but most importantly, to be faithful.
Yeah, God doesn't call us to work that's going to be easy. He calls us to work that's important. And I think that I would love to say, okay, we did everything the first week, and now we don't need to go back and do any of that again. But it's always about continuing to build people up and continuing to improve what we have. And it's always work, right? Being a principal working in a school is always work.
Yes, it is. But boy, is it a joy when you see that light bulb come on for the kids, realizing that they know they're children of God. We've had that already. We have a student who broke down in tears in middle school because he said, "I just don't know anything about this Jesus stuff," was his quote this week. And we thought, oh, welcome to Bethany. We are so glad you're here. And our mission really came into focus once again. So these first weeks of school are so critical, and God is going to bless our year because that's been his promise to us. He's called us to work that he himself has prepared in advance for us to do. So what a joy to do it.
Absolutely. It's the best job there is.
You got that right.
You have any last minute nuggets of wisdom, Mike?
Well, just knowing that, we are all in this together. I know it became a cliche, I think, in the past couple of years, but in Lutheran schools, we truly are. We are, no matter where we are, if you're in Minnesota or Ohio or anywhere else, we are all part of the family of God, doing his work that he's called us to do. So I encourage you to continue lifting everybody up in prayer, lifting up all of our Lutheran schools, and as we go through the year, as we may grow tired and weary, that cross continues to shine brighter and brighter every day. So blessings to all in your work.
That's a fantastic way to close it. We will be here just about every week with more little stories, nuggets of wisdom, hopefully things that are helpful. And if you find any of this helpful yourself, make sure to send it along to other people who it might benefit. Thank you for listening.
God's blessings.